Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Around the Town with Chuck. I'm Chuck Guglielmo, and I'm awfully excited to have Ashtabula County Commissioner Kasey Kozlowski with us. Hi, Kasey.
Hello, great to be here.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Haven't seen you for a while. I was telling you before we came on the air.
It's been a little while.
It
hard
has
to believe.
been a little while.
Time sure flies.
Sure does. Got so much to discuss with you. It's been several years, like I said, since I chatted with you last. You're a graduate of Pymatuning Valley High School.
Yes.
A Laker, about 10, 11 years ago, maybe?
Yes.
I don't want to give away your age.
Yeah,
but-
hard to believe. It is that.
At that time when you graduated from Pymatuning Valley, did you think the political arena would be where you wanted to? Was that your interest, the political arena?
To be quite honest, no. I did not think I would be entering public office. Never crossed my mind. But I got to say, soon after graduating high school, I wanted to stay connected in some way and give back to the community in some way. And I saw an opportunity existed with a Board of Education seat, same school district I graduated high school from. Worked hard, went throughout the community to solicit interest and learned what it took to become a candidate. Got the petition, got the signatures, and started campaigning, and ultimately was successful.
Well, when you started on the Andover School Board, Pymatuning Valley School Board, how long did you serve there?
Served 5 years.
5 years on the school board, and was it what you thought it would be? What were your expectations going into that, and then leaving that?
It was, and more, I think. There was certainly, it was great serving on the board because it provided a unique perspective. And I also provided a unique perspective to the board, having been a recent graduate of the system. Certainly had some school board members that were previous graduates, but I was the most recent graduate. And I provided that unique perspective. I thought it was very enlightening. I was able to provide a great amount of input, having been that recent student. And in addition, during that time, actually, we were just completing a big construction project at the district. And it was a lot of work. We all were putting a lot of time and effort into making sure that construction project was a success. But it was very enlightening, and I think it helped prepare me for the position I'm in today.
Did the school district, were they in any financial issues when you were serving there?
We have our financial challenges, of course, like every district, but those times were a little different than some of the challenges we face today. But no question, would like to have a little additional funds to be able to do some more work, but we made it work for our students at the district.
Mm-hmm. And then you left the school board, and then you were former state representative.
Former state representative.
99th District.
99th District, yeah.
Talk about that tenure.
Well, it certainly was a joy serving in the state legislature. Served in, of course, the 99th District, which was Ashtabula and northern Trumbull County. It was great. It was great having the opportunity to serve in Columbus, representing Northeast Ohio in the State House. Was a little bit of a learning experience at first, of course, but I had the opportunity to work with some fellow legislators that helped me along, provided insight, guidance on how to be successful down there. And I do believe I got a lot done during my time down there. Sponsored 7 bills, 4 of which were signed by the governor.
And I think when I read you were in the Star Beacon yesterday, and I think I read what you don't miss is making that trip down to Columbus.
I don't miss that.
Especially
drive.
in the wintertime, I would think.
I don't, I don't miss the drive. You've got that right. Being in the legislature, a lot of what you do, you spend time in Columbus, and that means a weekly drive to Columbus. And sometimes when I wanted to get back to an event in Ashtabula County, well, guess what? I did that drive twice in one day. So, no question, the driving did get old, but having the opportunity to serve as a commissioner now, get to spend a lot more time in the county.
In
which
the
is
county,
great.
exactly. And newly named vice president.
Newly named vice president. We organized earlier this month, and I'll be serving as the vice president of the board for 2016.
Okay, I want to ask this question. We have 3 Ashtabula County commissioners.
Yes.
What's significant about 3? Why not 1? Why not 5? Why do we have 3?
That's the way that it's structured here in the state of Ohio. All counties exist that way except for two. Two counties, both Cuyahoga County and Summit County, operate under a charter form of government, and they have a county council. But in all other 86 counties, we operate with 3 county commissioners, just the way it was structured when the legislature put it together.
And county commissioners do a lot with budgets, policies, and the management end of things, the working. You came in December of 2014, I believe.
Yes, came in December of 2014.
And that was getting you were getting started learning how to do budgets and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having the opportunity to join the board a little early was helpful. The gentleman I replaced, Commissioner Joe Morosky, he had to step down early. And of course, one of those primary responsibilities as a county commissioner is working on the county budget. We're the funding authority for many. We delegate a lot of funds, and we need to make sure we do our due diligence in that process. And back in 2014, they actually delayed the process a little bit, enabling me to take part in the entire process. So getting on the board early helped give me a little bit of an edge to be successful in the work that we were doing on the budget.
So you were able to gain some experience before you actually went in January?
Yes, then of course the term started January of 2015.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about budgets. How much of your budget is spent on paying workers?
Oh boy, a large portion of it. A large portion of our budget is spent on workers because primarily in the county we're providing a lot of the local services, and of course that requires manpower. So we're delegating those funds, and we're working with our various county departments. All the elected officials at the county level come to us with their budget proposals, and we work through that process. Our elected officials do a good job here in Ashtabula County of gaining a good understanding of how their office operates and the amount of funds that they need to operate. So we lean on them rather in terms of guidance on how to fund their office, but sometimes there's only so much we have to work with, and this is a year where we'll certainly have to a little bit of give and take a little bit to ensure that we can get through the 2016 budget process. But to answer your question directly, a large portion of it is for manpower.
Mm-hmm. Kasey Kozlowski, Ashtabula County Commissioner, is my guest here and Around the Town with Chuck. Every city, of course, in the county and village has their own particular budgets. Do you guys get involved with any of those at all?
We generally do not. We fund some other operations that may directly impact some of the cities, municipalities, and the townships, but we are not responsible for the budget directly for the cities or any of the townships.
Mm-hmm. Of course, the other two commissioners, Peggy Carlo and Dan Claypool, they're veterans.
Yes.
I don't want to call you a rookie, but you're a little over a year now, right?
A little over a year.
Yeah. What's it like working with them?
It's been good. No question. We have different political backgrounds. We represent different parties. But at the end of the day, we were elected to represent the county of Ashtabula, and we work well together in terms of moving things forward. Of course, I sometimes have a different idea or insight on how I want to do something. They may differ, but that's the great thing about a democracy. We can debate an issue and sometimes work through our differences to make it a better deal for the folks that we represent.
Mm-hmm. How long's the term?
It is 4 years, actually.
4-year term.
4-year term.
You're in your second year.
And I am entering my second year. I am elected in a gubernatorial year. So when the governor is on the ballot here in the state, I'm also on the ballot. The other two seats are up in a presidential year. So you vote for two when you vote for president, you vote for one when you vote for the governor.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about policy. What policy changes are necessitated for broader employment?
For broader employment? Well, doing what we can in Ashtabula County to make our county a better place to do business is important. We're in a very competitive climate. folks are competing for businesses, competing for jobs, all over the country and all over the world. It really is a world economy. We need to make sure that we're doing everything we can in Ashtabula County to ensure that we've got a good workforce, a workforce that is ready to work, that we have a tax climate that is favorable for business. We also need to ensure that we have the infrastructure in place to support business. And that's something we're very blessed with here in Ashtabula County. We're within a day's drive of roughly 65% of the country's population, which is a good thing when a business is looking to relocate. And of course, a business needs to be able to move their product if they're selling a specific product that needs to reach market. So we've got, of course, rail here in Ashtabula County. We have an interstate system that moves through the county. We have affordable land. We're on the shore of Lake Erie, so you can move the product to the St. Lawrence Seaway to the international market. So we're blessed with infrastructure, and that's very important for business. So I think all those things are very important when we're looking to make our county a place to do business, and when we're working to, of course, get people to work if they're unemployed.
What is the population of Ashtabula County?
We are roughly right around 100,000.
100,000 here in the county. And do you notice any differences between the lakeshore county, cities versus the southern part of the county in terms of the employment and how things are going? Is there any major differences?
It is a little different. Of course, you're a little more urban in the northern part of the county, very rural in the southern part of the county. I think we're still rural overall when you compare it to some like Cleveland or New York City, of course, but it is a little different. A lot of business seems to be located in the northern part of Ashtabula County, kind of north of 90. But in the southern part of Ashtabula County, of course, you've got the agricultural industry that thrives. We've got a lot of wineries that are, of course,
big attraction
in the rural
County.
Part of the county. Yep.
Yeah,
wineries are a big draw. Wineries contribute to our tourism industry in Ashtabula County, which is very important. A $400+ million industry for us.
Wonderful. What part of government do you feel should receive more attention?
What part of government should receive more attention? I think more attention should be given to local government. I think that's really where services are delivered, is at the local level. And, I provided this in the article that was in the Star Beacon yesterday. No question that having served in Columbus, it's easy to get that top-down view on things. And then having been in local government, the opportunity to see those local services delivered. I think it's important for special attention to be given to local government. And that's something that I've been advocating for in my new role, to ensure that we're providing the tools, the resources to the folks here on the ground floor to ensure that services are being delivered and things are getting done. Because when you move your way up to Columbus or even to Washington, D.C., you sometimes wonder how those decisions, or the money that they're talking about, the millions and the trillions, the billions, how does that impact us at the local level? And I think there needs to be a greater amount of emphasis on that local level.
Let's talk about that dirty word called taxes. Any changes in the future in existing taxes already here in the county? Do you see anything there?
You want lower taxes, huh?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Well, I'm a firm believer in keeping taxes as low as possible, but also understand that taxes are necessary to fund local services. So it's finding that balance, I think, is the important part, to ensure that we're providing that right level of service at the tax level that is still affordable for folks. And that's my goal when we're working on things, because we can't be too heavy on the tax side, because I think that hurts us in the long run. No question.
Infrastructure. What are some of the pressing needs?
I think, as I pointed out, in terms of economic development, infrastructure is very important. we need to make sure that we're investing in our roads, and our bridges. I know just outside of Conneaut here, there was work done on that on the Route 20 bridge that was a while coming.
A 9-month project?
A 9-month project.
It's nice now, though.
It is nice.
Well worth the wait, I guess.
It is very nice. But I think there needs to be a greater amount of emphasis in investing in our roads, in our bridges, because a lot of them are showing their age. So ensuring that we make those right investments, I think, will benefit us rather in the short and the long term.
Mm-hmm. How about capital projects and pressing needs there?
Capital projects, there's a capital bill that's expected in the state budget this coming year. I'm advocating for some local projects for the capital bill. I recently was elected to the County Commissioners Association Board of Directors, and we work on legislative issues at the state level. Something that I hope to advocate for is capital dollars that make their way back to Ashtabula County. We've got some nice projects that are seeking funds. They're seeking funds for a renovation at the courthouse complex, seeking funds for a museum project on Bridge Street and in the harbor. I'm hopeful that we'll be able to get some money back to Ashtabula County to fund some of these great projects. There's a lot of money in Columbus. We just need to make sure Ashtabula County gets a piece of that pie.
Building and development, how does the county encourage that?
Encourage building and development. It goes back to my point of making sure that we're in a position to making Ashtabula County a good place to do business. We need to keep our taxes as low as possible. We need to ensure that we've got the right infrastructure in place. And when we do so, we'll be able to bring business into our county, get more people working, and get them working, of course, with a livable wage, so that they can afford to invest in their home, invest in their family, putting kids through school, and I think at the end of the day, putting a greater emphasis also on keeping our younger people here in the county will benefit us for the short and long term, and encourage more building, folks building new homes and investing into the community.
Any idea what the percentage is of county people that are employed here in the county? Do we have any ballpark figure on that?
I'd have to take a look at the numbers, but I think a large portion of the folks that are able to work, but there still is a fair number that don't. We have an unemployment rate that has lowered in the last few years, but I think it in part is from some folks that have dropped off the rolls, unfortunately. We still have folks that aren't working, but I think things have improved, but of course more work still to be done.
Mm-hmm. What about public debt? Does the county currently have any of that?
We do.
List it.
List it. There is public debt. A large part that was before I came onto the county commission, but sure. We do have debt. I could go through some of them if you want, but there is some county obligations. Yes,
sure. Any one county service you feel needs additional resources?
Something that I would like to see improved, and I think many would like to see improved, is transportation in our county. County transportation.
You mean like buses?
Like public transportation.
Okay, public transportation. All right.
We do have a county public transportation system, but I would like to see some improvements to our system, making it easier for folks to be able to get to and from work, being able to make it to their doctor's appointments, etc. There are a lot of folks that are working on that, and I can speak for the board. We are working on that as well, but I think there is a greater need for public transportation in our county, And I think that's an area that perhaps we can make an additional public investment.
Very good. This is just one question left on this one note card that
Oh,
I got.
only one. Oh, okay.
What part of the county's government do you feel is most effective, and should it be?
What part of county government is the most
That
effective?
you think is most effective, and should it be?
And should it be? Well, I think it's hard to put a pulse on just one thing, but I will say I think just the importance of local government in general. Delivering local services is vital, and when times are tough, people sometimes lean on government to help out and to provide those critical programs and services. So I think just ensuring that we retain that local structure and keep government as close to us at that local level as possible is important. It's easy to say that that Columbus can fix things or Washington can maybe fix things, but I think at the end of the day, it's really hard to say that that a lot of what they're doing is impacting us. But I think more politics are local, and that decisions should be kept at that local level as much as possible, because that's where we're feeling it the most.
Do you think Columbus recognizes Ashtabula County as much as they should versus the other counties in the state? I get that question asked to me a lot.
Yeah, that's something that I was working on when I was in the legislature and continue to work on this day. I don't think we do. I think there should be a greater emphasis from Columbus on Ashtabula County. No question, we are still part of Ohio. We matter, and Columbus should recognize that. When it comes to competing for grant dollars for projects, I think Ashtabula County should be able to get a greater share. When it comes to investments that are being made by the state, I think they should take a bigger look at Ashtabula County, because we do matter, and we hope to change that mentality. I know we're a 3-hour drive from Columbus. I get that, but we do matter, and we need to make it clear to Columbus that we're just like every other county in the state.
What about on the educational level? How does Columbus look at Ashtabula County?
I think there's still work to be done there as well, when it comes to Columbus realizing Ashtabula County with our education system. I think we are blessed with some good schools here in Ashtabula County. I'm a public school graduate, and I'm very proud of the education that I received. I think it's also, though, important that we continue to make those investments in education in general, to ensure that we are providing all students, the emphasis on all students, with a quality education so that they can succeed in life.
And since you are an educated man and you did serve on the school board, the school report cards just came out and the county didn't fare too well, and then I read another story where they said that could have been misleading. Anything you can tell us on that?
Well, this was widely discussed when I was in Columbus, redoing the way schools are evaluated. The administration has unveiled a new way in which schools are graded, and I think you notice that with every administration. They all come out with a new idea on how schools should be graded on their performance. I think there needs to be a better measure that is in there for the short and the long term, so that folks can get a better understanding of how their school is performing over a 1-year period, over a 3-year period, 5-year period, even a 10-year period. I think constantly changing the way our schools are graded makes it really hard for folks, for parents, to get a good understanding of how their specific school is performing. With it constantly changing, having been in the legislature and observed these changes, even for me it can be pretty daunting to follow how it's changed even over the last few years. But I think it is important to note that I think our schools are doing a good job. Is there some work to be done? I think teachers and administrators would say, sure, things could always improve, but I think they're doing their darndest to make sure that they are providing our students with a good education.
I had our superintendent of Conneaut schools in here a few weeks ago, and I had asked him a question about, they were talking about having all-day school, or I mean, all year-round school. Is that something you would be in favor of?
You know, I'd have to.
He was.
Well, he was.
He
You know,
was.
I would have to
Right,
look
Cindy?
at the
Yeah, he
pros
was.
and cons on whether that would make sense. I think it would be a big shock to the system to have all year-round school. I'm not sure how that would go off at first.
With the parents, you mean?
Well,
or-
with parents, you know, I think it would just be a drastic change. You know, I think maybe taking a look at maybe a little bit of a longer school day that could maybe be considered, and I think that is in the authority of schools now, considering that they now operate under an hours system versus a minimum number of days system. So I think they do have that flexibility now, but something that I know that we would hear right off the bat if schools went to a year-round program is the impact on tourism here in our county, because a lot of students have seasonal jobs
There you go.
and fill those jobs in the tourism industry. So I could see that being one of the first things that are brought up.
A lot of things to look at.
Is the impact on business.
A lot of things to look at. Is if, let's say, they do decide to do that, does that have to be every school district in the state, or can each district do what they want to do on this?
Well, I'm not sure if they would have the authority to operate on a year-round school year currently. I don't know if the state statute would allow that. So if a school did try to pursue that, they may have to look at a legislative change. And if there's a legislative change, then all schools would be able to do so if they so wish.
Let me get back to talking to Kasey rather than asking superintendent type questions. What is the ratio of government employees to constituents in our county?
Well, there are a lot of government employees. We have county employees, and then of course folks that work for the government at the municipal level, at the township level. So it's hard to put a specific number on that. But you know, we've got, of course, a couple hundred at the county level of employees and a population of roughly 100,000. But if you want a whole number, we'd have to look at all the folks that are employed at the, you know, with all local governments. Put that into our total.
How would you go about attracting quality applicants managing public agencies?
I think you know, sitting down, talking to them provides a lot of insight into one's perspective on being a leader in our community. So I think pursuing somebody that has an interest in our county, that wants to make a difference, that is committed, that is passionate. I think those are all things that I personally would want to look at when looking to hire someone that is going to be working on behalf of the constituents in Ashtabula County.
Would private providers give people more effective services, do you think?
Private providers. You've got me on that one.
Good, take your time, because I'm looking for my next question.
Could you repeat the question one
Oh,
more time?
yeah, let me see. Would private providers give people more effective services, do you think?
And I'm assuming it's probably comparing it to government services. I don't know. I think it would be a matter of opinion for many. But, you know, of course, you've got private providers that do package delivery. You know, of course, we have the United States Postal Service. You know, I don't know if necessarily private business does a better job in that arena because there isn't, I don't think it's a fair comparison. But, you know, there are a lot of good providers out there in general. There are, I think, for the large part, a lot of the services that we provide on the county level, at the government level, also provide a good service. So I think it's really hard to say that there's one specific private provider in competition to government that is doing a better job. But I'll think about that one. And maybe the next time I'm on, I'll have a good
We'll
answer
get
for
you
that
back
one.
for part 2.
Yeah, for part 2. That's a stumper.
What do you feel is the most important part of your job as it relates to the community out there at Ashtabula County?
Important part of my job. I think making myself accessible to the community, to the constituency is very important. Folks don't always get the opportunity to speak to their local elected officials, and I think they should have the ability to do so. They represent them, whether it be at the township level, or the county level, at the state level, or at the federal level. Having the ability to be accessible is important, and I strive to do that because being out there in the community enables me to garner ideas, garner their thoughts, and they also provide me with insight on some of the issues that I should be working on. And I think that helps me be a more effective leader because I'm working on the issues that are most important to the folks that I represent.
Mm-hmm. What about ongoing projects in the county? I know Dan was saying, Dan Claypool in the paper said safety forces was one thing that he wanted to strengthen. What about some of the other ongoing projects we got going on?
Sure. Of course, investing in our safety forces is important. It is a challenge, of course, when we're working with a limited budget, but I think making a critical investment in the safety forces arena is vitally important. We have a large county. The county sheriff has a large amount of ground to cover, so making that investment in the safety forces is very important. Investing in workforce programs in our county, I think, is another important item. When it comes to ensuring that we're competitive, when it comes to economic development in Ashtabula County, we want to ensure that our folks in our county have the right skills necessary to be effective in their jobs. Many are going back for additional education or getting skilled training to fill some of the jobs that we have here in Ashtabula County. So I think making a greater emphasis in workforce development is going to be very important. Something else that we are working on at the county level does kind of tie into the safety forces a little bit is a communication center. The state of Ohio
For emergencies.
Yeah, the state of Ohio is encouraging counties to reduce the number of PSAPs they have, and a PSAP is a public service answering point. Those are where your calls go when you seek assistance, when you dial 911. It doesn't always go to that local police station. Sometimes it could go across the county to a PSAP. The state is encouraging us to, of course, reduce that number, and we are looking to reduce that number to one with a communication center in Jefferson. And this is going to be a public service answering point where we will have the calls coming in there for the most part, and we'll have also a training center in essence on site where we can use that facility as a training component as we're training the next generation of folks that will be working in safety forces in our county, but also to those that want to be in that specific arena to be working on safety issues in the county. So that's something else on the docket here in Ashtabula.
Real quick, we just got a few seconds,
Okay.
and we'll close with this, a late question that came into me.
Okay.
We got a lot of agriculture here in Ashtabula County.
Yes.
They want to know how you can get their taxes down.
Yes, the CAUV program.
Yes, exactly.
There are efforts underway, and I can tell you I'm lobbying for changes when it comes to the CAUV program because a lot of folks have seen a large increase in their taxes, especially those that are farming. I am advocating for changes, and I know there's a bill pending in Columbus, and let's hope that we can get that passed and get some relief for those folks that are under the CAUV program.
All right, great. It was great having you on, Kasey. Thanks
Thank you
for the time.
I appreciate it.
And
Always
good luck
great
to
be
you.
here.
And that's Kasey Kozlowski, Ashtabula County Commissioner, and that's been another edition of Around the Town with Chuck.